Hello, everyone, and welcome in. I am Aaron St. Dennis, the FF Mad Scientist, and this is the Mad Science Lab podcast. Today, I'm being joined by Pru Patel for another episode of Sleepers, Breakouts, and Busts. Pru, nice to have you, man. Thanks for joining.
Hey, Aaron. Thanks for having me on again.
You want to take a quick second here before we get into it and tell everyone where they can find you and your work?
Yeah. So I work at the League Winners. I think Aaron's also part of our group there. I am sort of spearheading the Dynasty side with FF Rebel, as Aaron is looking at the redraft side. So look for content at the League Winners.
I was just on with Jeremy. He finished his episode about 3.5 minutes ago. So I had you guys back to back. It was kind of entertaining. So,
Nice.
all righty. Well, without further ado, let's get right into it then. Your first player is your sleeper. That would be Pittsburgh tight end Pat Freiermuth. Fantasy Pros projections have him as tight end 9. No rushing totals projected. 59.6 receptions, 632.2 receiving yards, and a projected 4 touchdowns. What is it that makes him your sleeper? You there, Pru? I don't know what happened.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You there?
I am here. I don't know why. What happened there?
You have a second one. It came up. Did you click on the link twice? I have 2 of you in the stream right now.
No, I didn't. I somehow my browser just kind of shut, and then I reopened my browser, and I'm here twice, I guess.
It's all right. I kicked your clone out for a second. I could hear you, but it was the other version of you on the screen frozen. That's an interesting glitch. I've never had that before. But anyways, why is Freiermuth your sleeper?
Yeah, I think I had him as my sleeper because I think he's going to catapult himself to the discussions of being in the same lane as Mark Andrews and TJ Hawkinson because one, he's got the target share. The Pittsburgh Steelers were the 6th ranked team that targeted their tight end, and Pat Freiermuth was, I believe, 5th or 6th in total targets by tight end. And as a whole, the Pittsburgh Steelers should have some touchdown progression, positive regression. And
can't be any worse.
Right. And JJ Zacharyson had an episode about, the number of players being drafted in the top, I believe, 100 spots had a really high correlation to touchdowns per game. And the Steelers had a couple that were like right on the verge of being drafted as a high team. So I feel like their touchdown per game progression is going to benefit Freiermuth, especially with his a role in the end zone. So I think at the end of 2023, he's going to be in the same discussion as Mark Andrews and TJ Hawkinson as one of the, top 4 or 5 tight ends to have before you start punting the position.
Yeah, I feel like they just can't get any worse as far as touchdowns go. Like he was a rookie last year, Pickett, so it's got to go. It's sad to say that as bad as Freiermuth was at scoring touchdowns last year, he was still better than Deontay Johnson, but that's the world we are living in. Let's take a look here at him in ADP, which I am still on running back from last show, so let's move it on over. ADP currently has him at 9th among tight ends, 93rd overall. He's kind of outside that top group of tight ends here, and then he goes in the ones, from once Goddard goes, it's kind of a choose your own adventure here and just pick whoever your guy is, and there is no real ADP. It's just a mess all over the board. What do you think of this range?
Yeah, I'm definitely picking him over the likes of everyone there outside of Ingram. I think Ingram and Freiermuth are pretty even in my books. But I think due to age and the positive touchdown regression, I could see him finishing, tight end 5 or above this season.
Yeah, I could definitely see that as a possibility. I don't know if I have that much of him. This group here, like I said, I try to end up with one of the top 7. Once we get outside of the top 7, I don't really have any of them. I have some Schultz, I have some Dulcich. I find normally I don't get, excuse me, I don't get Engram, Firemouth, or Ninjoku because once I miss on the top 7, I just punt it and I wait and I wait and I wait. And they're normally gone way before I want to pay that price. So I don't have much of them. Do you have a particular tight end target or a strategy you're using with a target or with tight end? Sorry.
Yeah, so if I miss out on the top 3 or 4, I am punting it. But the one player I do keep an eye on, or actually 2, are Ingram and Frarmuth.
Okay.
If I see them going half around or falling half around below their ADP,
Yep.
Especially in tight end premiums, I'm taking them. Um, I if Frarmuth was, like I said, he was 4th or 5th in target overall, sir. He was higher than Ingram. And I think with like Goddard and Waller, there are enough risks there. Even with Kyle Pitts, there are enough risks there. I get their ceilings are higher, but I feel like Fryermuth's floor is higher than all 3 of those.
Yeah, I don't disagree with it at all. Like I said, I kind of I'm out on this. Not out. I just miss out on this range of tight end because I don't normally draft there. I've normally transitioned, much like we will do right here. I will transition to your breakout. That would be, I almost called them Buffalo Bill. It's not. That would be Houston Texans running back Devin Singletary. Fantasy Pros has him as RB46 with 544.3 rushing yards for 2.7 touchdowns, 23.6 receptions, 170.8 receiving yards, and 0.3 receiving touchdowns. Is this a case of you're high on Singletary or you're out on Dameon Pierce? For me, I think it's a mix of both.
Yeah, I think you had my 2 players switch. I think I had Devin Singletary as a sleeper, and Fryermuth as a breakout.
Do I? Oh, that happens. Either way, sleeper and breakout are so similar, it doesn't really matter. But
right,
okay, so
exactly.
Fryermuth was your breakout, and this is your sleeper.
Yeah. In my opinion, Fryermuth breaks out and then kind of reaches that upper echelon of tight
Gotcha.
ends, and Devin Singletary is a sleeper because you're getting him at a very, very low discount,
You know what?
and he's
I feel better about this because having tight end 8 as your sleeper was kind of taking the low hanging fruit. So RB46 as your sleeper and tight end 8 as your breakout. That feels much better. Well done, Pru. Thank you. That was my mistake. I apologize. It's been a long
no, that's
day.
all
I've
good,
got
all
I've
good.
got I've got 3 drafts going on right now while doing like 12 podcasts today is what I have. But the problem is I'm multitasking, as you can see from me looking down by my phone, because 2 of the 3 drafts I have today, one's an expert draft and I'm in pretty deep. The other 2 are crazy custom leagues. And the one I'm in a chat with Hunter right now, trying to figure out what the hell is going on. It's a vampire league, but there's like 3 different divisions and 3 copies of each player. And it's an
Wow.
auction. And I haven't read any of the rules because I have no time. And I'm
Oh
trying to
boy.
sit here doing this while Hunter explains to me what the hell is going on. So, yeah, so I'm all over the place. But sorry, back to your sleeper, Devin Singletary.
Yeah, so I feel like he is the classic, aging RB that was, had a starting role, but he gets traded, or sorry, he gets picked up in free agency. Um, I view him similar to how Jamal Williams was when he first joined the Lions. Even with Damian Pierce there, who had 180 carries last year, the Texans ran it 300 and some odd times. So there's still 120 carries that Singletary can start, claiming. And
Yeah.
then they brought in coaching staff from the coaching trio, Kyle Shanahan and Gary Kubiak, who are, the zone gurus in running back, and they very
Exactly.
efficient running lanes for the running backs. And then tack on that, the 49ers had 500 rushing attempts, and I think that 300 rushing attempt grows to 350 or 400 this year as they ease in the rookie quarterback. So you're getting a running back that could easily have a floor of 150 carries and a ceiling of 220 carries at, sometimes in like the double digit rounds. So if I'm going zero RB, Devin Singletary is my favorite prospect to draft, and you'll see. I think I have him in over like 60% of my leagues, combining dynasty and redraft leagues.
I try not to look at those. It's funny. I was talking about the opposite earlier when I was referring to some of those running backs, and I said that I look on, I forget what app I have, but one of the apps tells you what your ownership of all of them are. And I had a bunch with 0. And then I try to avoid looking at the ones that I own a lot of. You ever have it where you just look in and it's some random player that you're not even that high on, and it's like, I own him in 73% of leagues, and it's like, what in the hell am I doing? He always falls to you, so it just
Right.
that happens to be how it goes. But so Singletary on Fantasy Pros, if that screen to get the hell out of my way, is RB47 going at 134 overall. What do you think of the players in this range? The only ones I think I like better than him are the rookies, Kendre Miller and Roshan Johnson. But what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, from a redraft point of view, I like Singletary better than most of those. Maybe outside of Miller, I think Miller gets a chance to start, but Singletary from day one, he's going to see double-digit touches. In redraft, I want that double-digit touches, and I don't have to wait until the second half of the season for a rookie to catch up. I think, and that's one of the reason is like a lot of the times, even in redraft leagues, a lot of those rookies get propelled up as they show their explosiveness, and Singletary tends to drop a round or two later than those people.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. This is that time of year where I was talking about it, I think, on the last podcast. It's never been easier right now to draft. I mean, I get this is redraft, but in Dynasty, it's so easy to draft a win now team because whether it be Dynasty or redraft, everyone just gets so infatuated with these young guys and the exciting, what's the word I'm looking for? The exciting potential here of, the unknown, that all they do is they draft these guys where it's like, well, he's probably not that good, but what are we doing? So, yeah, I agree. I don't know if he's a sexy pick, but what pick is he? Did I say 134 overall? He's pretty much free. You're right though. Roshan and Miller are better dynasty targets because you don't know how long it's going to take them to come around. Raheem Mostert's interesting. I feel like he's being undervalued. I think he's going to have a bigger share than Devon A-Chain. I think that's going to be a nightmare though. Like this is just it's like a hodgepodge here of aging running backs, so we don't know if they have anything left. Some guys that we think are backups, and then a bunch of young rookies. So this is another one where it's just kind of like shoot your shot, take your guy. I don't know if I'm going to particularly have a huge share in any of them, but I'll probably this will be the range where I diversify and I just have 4 or 5 shares of each guy across 90 leagues or whatever the hell I'm into. But let's get to your last guy here. That is a bust. I love to see it. New York Jets injured running back Breece Hall. Fantasy Pros has him as RB11, which is insane because I think he's going to miss time. Don't get me wrong, I'm buying him low everywhere in Dynasty, but in redraft, that's high. Their projections have him at 992.4 rushing yards with 7.2 rushing touchdowns, 41.4 receptions, 367.2 receiving yards, and 2.3 touchdowns. I was worried for him in redraft based on the injury. I'm also worried that there's too many mouths to feed, and I get it. He's going to be the bell cow, but there's 3 other very capable backs they can use. And if that wasn't scary enough, the Jets are doing everything they can to make it known that they're looking to bring in Dalvin Cook or whoever the big name free agent is, which tells me that they don't think Breece Hall is going to be ready anytime soon. Why is he a bust for you?
I think you nailed it, right? If you can buy him low in Dynasty, which I don't think you can at the moment, go buy him. But redraft, he's coming from a major injury. It's going to take him some time. I'd rather pivot to another position in redraft leagues, and then hope that the owner that has Brees Hall gets frustrated the first month of the season, and I can buy and trade him for low, because I think if he does come and back and play it, like towards the end of the season is when you'll see the old Brees Hall kind of production as he comes back from injury. But when you're drafting and paying a price of an RB11 for Brees Hall, you're gonna have times in the beginning of the year where you're going to be frustrated by the lack of production. And like you said, the New York Jets have made it known that they're still wanting to bring other running backs. And Aaron Rodgers has a huge say in that, and he wants those high name caliber running backs to come in, because even Rodgers understands that maybe Brees Hall, if he comes back too early, he could re-injure his leg again. I am not drafting Brees Hall in any redraft leagues. And if he does struggle right out the gate in 2023, I'll be buying him in Dynasty and even trading for him in redraft when he's kind of his value is at the lowest in September, as I envision it to be.
Yeah, 100% correct. I agree. I'm going to scroll up here. Oh, I didn't put it on the screen. One sec. I thought I forgot to put the ADP screen up. He's up significantly higher than your last player. He would be running back 11, like I said, 26th overall. There is no way I'm taking a running back at the beginning of the third round that has that much competition. And I think I think he misses a month. And even if he doesn't miss a month, I think he's J.K. Dobbins and takes the entire season to get back to full speed. There is I'm not taking any of these running backs in this range anyways. I go wide receiver here. I don't particularly like these guys. They're all being drafted at their ceiling, except for maybe Derrick Henry. I'm out on Brees Hall. There's no way he produces to a level that will warrant a late second, early third round pick, and I'm just out. What do you think of the range he's going in here in drafts?
Yeah, I think a lot of those same questions apply to a bunch of those running backs, where they're in a RBBC and you're drafting them at their ceiling, and that's why it's good to pivot to wide receiver or tight end if you see Andrews or Hawkinson falling. And like you said, I think missing a quarter of the season, you're missing a lot of points, and I think that first few weeks is where you should be able to get him, at a cost of a fifth round pick potentially, and that's where I think you make your move is in September to go get Brees Hall.
Yeah, that's 100% correct. He could have some use though, in the second half of the season, but just at this price, nobody's going to be able to drop him. Nobody's going to really be able to trade him. This is going to be the guy where it was Najee last year, where halfway through the season, you're going to try and trade for him and you're going to send an offer and they're going to say, well, I can't take that. I paid a second round pick for him. And it's like, I don't care what you paid for him. I'll tell you what I'm willing to give. And it's not a second round pick. So,
right.
Yeah, he's going to be someone I have no shares of, along with Pollard, Stevenson. I'm just out on these guys. The price is too much for what I think is going to be limited production for Hall and significant injury. All right, Pru, thank you for joining me. You want to tell everyone once again where they can find you and your work?
Yeah, just go over to the League Winners at theleaguewinners.com, and I write for their Dynasty and lead their Dynasty section. And even in redraft, I'll be pumping out weekly articles once the season starts. So
sounds good. Sounds good. All right. Well, this has been Sleepers, Breakouts, and Busts with Pru Patel. Once again, I'm Aaron St. Dennis, the FF Mad Scientist, and this has been the Mad Science Lab podcast. Thanks again to Pru for joining me, and thank you everyone for tuning in. Take care and have a good night.